Well, hey everybody, Backyard Scrapping here, and welcome to part 3 of our laser pickups. As you can see, these guys got pretty well burned off. I've got a little stainless steel cup here that I'm gonna just go ahead and dump them into. So, let me see. I think I can do it with this. I think I can do it one-handed. Let's see. Well, almost. Apparently I'm not that great with one hand, guys. Let me put this over here. Get the rest of this stuff out of here. See if I can. This thing is still hot, otherwise I just grab it, but yeah, it's still really hot. So let me try and pick these up without making too much of a mess. Looks like we may have to burn them a little more, but I don't know, they seem pretty pyrolyzed, so I actually have a little, hang on, let me put this down for just a second. Okay, so I have cleaned up my little mess I made. Got those in the cup. I have a little drill bit, and what we're going to do is just kind of crush those up. So I'm going to do this for a couple minutes, and I'll get back at you in a bit. Okay, everybody, as you can see, we've got this ground down into a powder. We'll basically just filter this off like we would normally do if we were doing a big batch of IC chips, except that this is a little batch. So anyway, I'm not going to go through that right this minute, and then, you know, we'll wash it and rinse it and all that stuff. What I'm going to do right now is get us a beaker over here. This is all of our diodes from 100 of the pickups. So I'm going to be really honest with you guys. This really needs, oh, also I have the pins in here. I put the pins in with them because there's some tin on those. But this is going to really need to yield, I mean, something really phenomenal, because it took me probably another hour to get those caps off and get these ready for acid. So, you know, we're looking at 21, 22 hours in this right now. Now, if I pull a gram of gold off of this, you bet I'll do it again. But I actually enjoy pulling pins. You know, and I mean, and that's probably one of the most tedious jobs you can do, is to pull pins. And I actually like pulling pins. I'm going to be really honest with you. This entire process so far has been a job. None of it was relaxing. I didn't really, you know, this is actually too tedious. But if it pays off, you know, it'll be worth it. So we're going to go ahead and put a little HCl on these. I'm going to cover them up, let the HCl do its thing, getting rid of that tin. And we're just going to let these sit. So we will probably get back at you in a little bit after the tin and some of that other stuff, that whatever that HCl will eat up, we'll rinse these and get them ready to go. And we're going to do this, like I said, with nitric acid. Now normally I would do this with AP or copper 2, but I do want to get this video out because I know everybody's curious. So we are going to go ahead and use nitric acid, even though it's more expensive. It'll cut us from about a 2 to 3 week process to about a 2-day process. So when these are ready to be rinsed, and we're ready to start rinsing this little stuff here and get it cleaned up, we'll be back at you. So we'll see you in a bit. Okay guys, we are back inside. This is our little diodes and what was left. I did go, you know, look at it real close with my little high-powered loop there, and I saw about 3 bond wires in here. So other than that, I think we did pretty good. I did see some of the plates in here that hold the diodes, the silicon diodes, are actually gold plated. Not a whole bunch, but I am going to just keep that. I'll just put it in a little bottle and save it. And when I do a batch of IC chips or something, I'll just throw this back in with it. But there is a couple of bond wires, not much, so I'm pretty confident we got probably 99% of our bond wires out there in our filtered powder. Like I said, I'm going to do the same process that everybody does. I'm just going to rinse them off a little bit, and then we're actually going to put that powder or that whatever's left in that directly into Aqua Regia. I could probably do the same with this, you know, just take a magnet and go through the magnetics and take them out, but I'm just, like I said, I'll just throw that in with another batch. So we're going to let our stuff sit out there in the hydrochloric acid, the rest of our gold diodes. We're going to let them get the tin off of them, and then we're going to put them in some nitric acid and see how much gold we can get out of them. So we'll be back at you in a bit. Well, good morning, everybody. It is the next day. We are in the process of rinsing our diodes. That was the detinning acid, the HCl I put on them last night just to, you know, to get the tin off of them. So right now I'm just rinsing them in water. I'm actually going to boil it a couple of times. I want to make sure that we get all that acid out, so we don't make Aqua Regia when we put our nitric acid in, because we are not ready to go to Aqua Regia yet. So we're just going to keep doing that for a little while. I'm probably going to do it 2 or 3 times. I'm not going to bore you with that, but hey guys, I just wanted to pop in for a second and show you something. There's our dish soap, but I wanted to show you what I like to do, because I haven't really done much with IC chips. We'll have to start doing a couple videos on those. But what I like to do is take the soap and actually make the ash into a paste. If you really have a lot, sometimes that's very hard to do, but when you do it like this, you pretty much ensure you're not going to get any surface tension, and that your bond wires are going to stay down and your powder is going to stay down. So I just wanted to show you that real quick. I'm going to go ahead and start cleaning this up. We're waiting for our water over there to boil again and change it out again, and then we're going to get to it. So I just wanted to bring you in and show you this. So we'll be back at you in a bit. Okay, this is about our 3rd rinse. We've got that boiling. I'm going to go ahead and pour it off in this pour-off jar. I just wanted to show you real quick, we've got our ash rinsed out, so that's basically just probably a tiny bit of metal and crushed up silica chips, and I don't think you're going to be able to see it with this camera. I'm going to try and see if I can show you, but you see that discoloration there in the bottom, that little bit of almost looks yellow? That is the gold bond wires out of those little tiny chips. So the fact that I can even see it tells me that if you had a kilo or 2 of those little tiny chips, those little diodes that they use now, but if you had about a kilo of them, you would really clean up. But anyway, that's ready to go. We're just going to put that right directly into Aqua Regia. So we're going to wait for now. I'm going to go ahead and get this rinsed again and boil it off one more time, and then we are going to start our nitric acid. So we'll be right back at you. Okay guys, we did all our rinsing. I actually did my last rinse in with distilled water, boiled it for a while in distilled water. Our HCl should be gone. We're going to know pretty much instantly when we add this, if we start getting a Aqua Regia reaction here, but I'm guesstimating we have about 50 grams of material in there. So I've got 50 milliliters of nitric. We're probably going to need, half again that, maybe even up to 100. I don't know for sure because I've never done these before. But we're going to go ahead and start adding our nitric acid, and we're just going to do it a little tiny bit at a time, because I don't know how this stuff is going to react, and it's reacting very quickly. So I'm going to let that sit there for a minute. It's a little cool out here today, so we will probably actually put it on the warmer after I get this initial reaction done. Okay, everybody, it's starting to slow down. This was our first little batch of nitric that we added in. I'm actually seeing a color I didn't expect to see. I was expecting to see more of a blue than a brownish black. So we may have gold going into solution. I don't know what is inside, you know, those diodes. I don't know if there's rubber in there or if there's something in there that could have held on to the hydrochloric acid. But I'm just not sure, because I don't really know how they peg or hold those legs in, or what they hold them in with. I know I rinsed them, actually boiled and rinsed them 4 times, and then a 5th time in distilled water. And unless it's an iron, unless it's, iron-based material, which it very well could be, I mean, it looks to me like we've got gold going in solution. Iron would probably do the same thing. I'm not seeing a whole lot of foils. I am seeing some foils, but I don't know if they're dissolving or not. So I'm going to do a stannous test on this and see if we have gold in solution. If we are, we're just going to go ahead and end up having to do a dirty drop. So let me test this, and I'll get back at you guys in just a bit. Okay, guys, we did our test. As you can see, we have our solution on the left, and we have another one here. All the stannous did was clear it up. So evidently we don't have any gold in solution, so those must be made out of iron. That's the only other thing I can think of that's going to, pull that color, that red of a color, other than gold. So we're just going to continue on. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more nitric to this, and we're going to just let it go and see what happens. So anyhow, had me scared for a second, but our stannous test is saying that it's not a precious metal in there. So I'm going to go ahead and add some more nitric, and we're going to continue on. So we'll go ahead and do that right now while we've got you here. We're just going to add a very little bit at a time, because we are getting a strong reaction every time we add any. So they must be a really heavy iron, or just almost a solid iron, that those pins are, or those housings, those diode housings are made out of. So anyway, we'll get back at you in a bit. Okay, guys, about, I don't know, 30 to 45 minutes has gone by. Our reaction has pretty much stopped. We have a really thick looking, just red, brown, rust colored looking mess in here. So I'm going to add a little bit more nitric. I'm actually going to have to sit out here with it, because I have no idea what this is going to do. And I know sometimes with iron you can get right at the right perfect temperature and it'll be sitting doing nothing and it just goes nuts. So I'm going to put some more nitric in this. We've probably only used about 10 mils so far of our 50 that we have laid out. So we're just going to slowly do this and see how long it takes and what we end up with. So we'll be back at you in a bit. Okay, guys, it is starting to get a little bit dark. It's starting to get colder. What I actually have here is just a pretty rusty, thick kind of mess of stuff. I just stirred it a second ago with this, and I can still feel quite a bit of metal down in there. So I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of this nitric acid. Looks like we got about, I don't know, maybe 20 mils left in here. But I'm just going to put it all in and watch it for a second and make sure we don't have anything crazy go on. And I'm not seeing a lot of reaction when I do that, when I add the nitric. I mean, it's starting right now to come up again a little bit. But I'm going to have to probably go ahead and just call this video. because right now it feels to me like about half of the metal is dissolved. So we have our, I put a little bit of HCl in our ash to dissolve any, any metals, and we're getting a little bit of copper too. I figured we would. I figured there would be some copper in there, and that burnt copper mixed with the HCl is going to basically make AP, like acid peroxide if you did it. But anyway, I just want to go ahead and eat up any of that metal. So for the rest of the night, I'm going to leave that sit. Periodically tonight, I am going to come out here and, we've got 50 mils of nitric in there right now. So I'm going to lay out another 50 mils of nitric, and just periodically come out and add to it and see if we can get the rest of that metal to dissolve. And then tomorrow we'll have to, hopefully it'll be gone, and we'll have to, start our filtering process. But the actual filtering process and drop is going to have to be another video, because otherwise this video is going to be half an hour or more long. So we will go ahead and call it, like I said, and we will see you in the next video.